welcome. Thank you for joining ELT Experiences. Today I'm here with a teacher, and perhaps maybe you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. My name is Emre. I'm a teacher, English teacher, and I have spent some time working over in Turkey.
Okay, today we're going to be looking at 10 tips for working in Turkey with Emre's insight. So
Yeah.
hopefully you've got some ideas, eh?
Yeah, perfect. And I want to say it's not only my insight. I got together with a bunch of my friends and colleagues that I worked with when I was in Turkey, and a lot of them have years and years in Turkey. So I think it's a great pool to kind of draw knowledge from.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first I'm going to be looking at tips that will help you before you get to Turkey or when you are choosing your job. And my first tip is going to be to get a Turkish SIM card. Okay, this doesn't sound that important, but all of your documentation when you get to Turkey will be based on your SIM card. So if you don't have a SIM card, you won't be able to get your visa, you won't be able to get residency, anything like that.
I see. Wow, so it's pretty important.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah. And it's an excuse for you to go out and buy your phones and buy your SIM cards and get it already.
Great, okay.
And one thing I want to add is that you can't use a Turkish SIM card in a foreign phone. So you will either have to buy a new phone or you will have to unlock your foreign phone.
Right, okay. But I suppose some of the old phones, you know, like the flip phones from the 90s and what have you, are they quite cheap in Turkey?
Yeah, if you want a good phone which can do everything, you can probably pick one up for about, I'd say about 60-70 quid.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Tip number 2 would be not to accept any jobs if they say that they are not going to pay you until you get your visa. And this is quite a common practice. A lot of institutions, they will say, until you get your visa, you're not going to get paid, but once you get your visa, we will back pay you. And I have had some people, and I've also heard some stories of people getting burnt by this and getting done out of money. In fact, I had a friend who worked a couple of months without a visa, and her visa never came through, so she actually never got paid.
Oh dear.
And the fix to this is just say, I need to get paid in cash until I get my visa.
Right, I see.
And they may say we can't do this, but in actual fact, if they really want you, they will do it.
What about applicants applying from overseas? Are they able to get a visa before they arrive in Turkey, or?
I think you can get it most of the way done. I haven't heard of anyone who's actually got it fully set up before they got there, but
Right, okay, so there's a process of
there is, yeah.
applying for a job, maybe starting the application for the visa, and then getting the visa once they're in the country? Is
that's
how
usually,
it works?
That's usually how it works,
Okay.
yeah. Now I'm going to be looking at some tips for the classroom and ideas on what to teach. And my tip number 3 is going to be pronunciation.
Okay,
Turkish people love pronunciation.
yeah,
And their dream is to sound like an English person or they love it so much.
that's great. One of my favourite areas to focus on with students is pronunciation. But why do Turkish students really enjoy pronunciation?
I think it actually boils down to them watching films and then they just want to emulate what they see. And
I see.
I've even had students say, "Oh, I want to be seen as English and I don't want to be like recognised as a foreigner," kind of thing.
I see. Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, they really appreciate any kind of work you do on pronunciation, and any pronunciation lesson you give them, they will appreciate it. Personally, the biggest point to focus on, and all Turkish people will struggle with this, and that's the difference between th and t. So they will say, "I want three drinks," instead of "I want 3 drinks."
I see.
And that's really hard for them.
Yeah, okay. And did you work quite a lot with like the TH sounds, the very heavy TH sounds with your students?
Yeah, definitely. That was. It takes a lot of drilling to kind of get that into them, and a lot of games and reminding as well.
Wow. Did they finally get there in the end?
Some of them.
Some of them. Okay.
Most of them got there. My tip number 4 is going to be prepositions. Now, prepositions work completely differently in Turkish, and in Turkish we actually only have 2 prepositions, which is kind of strange. So no matter what level your student is, they will make mistakes when it comes to prepositions, and even some of the teachers would say stuff, for example, like explain me how to do this, instead of explain to me how to do this, or
Right, I
whatever.
see.
So even the teachers will make mistakes with prepositions.
Okay, are these like the non-native Turkish
yeah, exactly.
English teachers?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And you could, if you're looking for lessons or you're kind of lacking in ideas or inspiration, just find a lesson with prepositions and they will always learn something for sure. Tip number 5 is going to be, get ready for what we called in the office a clown fiesta.
A clown fiesta.
A clown fiesta. Can you guess what it is?
It sounds kind of funny.
Yeah, to be fair, it actually got to a state of being quite funny. And basically, what we mean when we say clown fiesta is the lack of organisation, and at times the chaos. And this kind of emanated from sometimes a lack of management or just a Turkish way of doing things.
Right.
And you just gotta be prepared for decisions to get overruled and then implemented again, and nothing is stable.
A sort of organised chaos?
Organised chaos. It actually ends up working. It always ends up working, but there's a lot of clown fiesta.
Clown fiesta.
Before the moment, yeah.
I like it. It's like a sort of a fiesta where you hit the piñata
Yeah.
or something like that. But...
Only sometimes you feel like you're the piñata.
Okay.
But actually my tip is not to get too stressed. And when I first started teaching in Turkey, I got really stressed when, okay, I'd go into the day knowing what I'm doing, but then everything would change, and I'd really stress about it, and I'd feel like it's my fault, but just go with the flow, like everything ends up okay, and the chaos actually does work. And I know it depends on what institution you work at. I worked in a few places, some of them were better than others, but all of them do have this level of chaos. Another tip based on what to expect, and my tip number 6 is going to be get ready for some cheating from the students and maybe some different ethics when it comes to learning.
Okay. Sneaky behaviour.
Some sneaky behaviour. And actually it's not that sneaky when it comes to Turkish cheaters. They're really not that good. Like, they're about 20 years behind on the cheating antics.
I see.
They're pull the old, oh, can I go to the toilet, here's my phone, and then you can clearly see they have another phone concealed in their pocket. And you're like, and the other one?
Yeah.
But Turkish and a lot of Middle Eastern students, they do like to cheat a little bit, and they also, you may find that they're not as disciplined as you expect in Western culture.
I see.
Not to say that they're not great students. I absolutely loved all of my Turkish students, but it's just their way that they see cheating and they see kind of classroom discipline's a little bit different.
I see. Well, when I was in South Korea, we had young kids and students who would try to bend the rules and try and cheat the system because they saw it was an opportunity to get ahead from other students. It's quite competitive there, and they have a particular loan word from England that they could say, like hacking, and teacher, he's hacking, and you have an image of a computer and some guy there trying to break into a system, and yeah, it's quite an interesting concept that
So
they
you'd
have
call
there.
them hackers, not cheaters.
Hackers, yeah.
My tip number 7, this is going to be probably the most important tip on the list, and it may seem obvious to some of you, but it is, do not talk about politics, do not talk about religion in class, in the classroom. When you arrive in Turkey, you will see how open-minded a lot of people are and how open to discussion people are, but as soon as you get into the classroom, that changes. And the main reason is because your role as a teacher, rightly so, is seen as very influential. So it's very frowned upon if you start talking about politics.
I see. So in Turkish society, do they regard teachers as senior as maybe doctors?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And actually the title hoca, which means teacher, is seen as like a very high up, respected title.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, guys, don't.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Well, good advice anywhere, I suppose.
Yeah. So now for my last 3 tips. These are going to be tips that are going to help you maximize your time in Turkey. Okay. If you get everything right, then your experience in Turkey should be a high point in your life. It was really an amazing experience for me. Yeah, I did so many things wrong and it was still amazing. So my tip number 8 is going to be make the most out of your time in Turkey. No matter where you are, Istanbul, Izmir, it's a really beautiful country and there's so much to see. And I had a friend who every weekend would go out to a different village or to a different town, and the coach system in Turkey is very cheap, very efficient, and it's widespread. You can go wherever you want, and a weekend trip won't cost you much. And it's something that you will remember. There's so many amazing places in Turkey, whether you're looking for history, architecture, culture, they have it all in Turkey.
That's great. Well, I suppose it's transferable wherever you teach, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, you can either be teaching in Turkey or China or wherever, and you could end up you know, just staying in your room, in your four walls. It's not a great experience, and you don't experience the culture, you don't experience the society, and I think it's a great opportunity, like you said.
And Turkish people are very open, and they really welcome people trying to learn about their culture, language, anything like that. So they will help you every step of the way. And you can go and ask anyone what is a good site to see around here, or because there are some real hidden gems, and you should ask the locals to kind of find out where they are.
Yeah, great, okay.
Tip number 9 is going to be try and find some foreigners, some foreign teachers who you can use for support. Okay, they don't have to work in the same institution as you, but as long as you have some people who can relate with your problems, relate to your problems, and some people who can really understand the suffering or the problems that you may go through, okay? And for example, I mentioned earlier the clown fiesta.
Yes.
I had some foreign teachers and we'd just joke about it. And something which would usually stress me, we turned it into a funny joke, and we learned how to cope through satire, I guess.
I guess so. Well, for me, when I was in South Korea, it was a good chance to just share common experiences that you have, and you know, you have something in common, even though you might not necessarily meet the person if you were working in an English-speaking environment, but the common thing that you would have is that you were living and working in a culture or a society which you had similar experiences with.
Yeah, and you have shared values with that person. So if I had a bunch of friends who were Turkish, but some things that would annoy me, would irk me, I'd talk to the Turkish people about them, and it's normal for them.
Yes.
Then I'd talk to the English person about them, and they're like, yeah, that is really annoying. Why are they talking during assembly? So my final tip number 10, is going to be enjoy your time as a deity. Okay, if you are a foreign teacher or a native teacher, you will be held in such high regard, and yeah, people will look to you for a lot of answers, okay? And it is really quite fun, and you can use it for your own benefit as well. So if you want to find a bit of extra work, you will always find people who are looking for a private tutor, or if you go to a language school, as soon as you say I'm a native speaker, they're like, yeah, okay. And actually, when I got hired, it was funny because one of my Turkish friends went in, and their interview lasted about 20 minutes. And then I walked in, I shook hands with the manager, and she said, okay, so where were you educated? And I said, London. And she literally said, okay, you're hired.
Really?
Yeah, so...
Oh dear, I feel sorry for the non-native teachers really in Turkey, because I suppose they can get a bit of a raw deal.
That's another really good point. Do not discuss your wages with anyone who isn't a foreign teacher, because they do get a raw deal actually. And as a foreign teacher, you will probably be getting paid twice or thrice the amount that an actual Turkish person is. So
yeah, okay, well, good point. Well, I suppose, is that all the points that you had?
Yeah, and just enjoy your time in Turkey. It was absolutely amazing, and I would recommend it to anyone. And it's a very chilled out, and you have a lot of support as a teacher in Turkey, so it's an amazing place to start your career as a teacher.
If you've got any questions about working or living in Turkey, then please comment below and ask away. And if you've not subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like video if you like this video as well. That'd be great. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.